Chapter 1 Aram's Dilemma. Aram loves Diamandola, Aram loves Diamandola, chanted the young lad as he ducked behind the garden shed. Oh, be quiet, Manuk, and come out here where I can see you, Aram scolded as he dropped himself tiredly onto the white wrought iron bench. You ain't mad at me, are you? Manuk asked anxiously as he crept from behind the shed, weaving his way through the hollyhocks toward Aram. Nah, I guess not, 'cause it's true. I do love Diamandola. The trouble is, I'm not sure she loves me. Manuk stood respectfully in front of Aram like the dutiful servant his Syrian owners had trained to be. But she should. All us orphan kids here at 𝔸𝕟'𝕤 are like you, Mr. Aram, sir. You are like a papa to us. Manuk, will you stop calling me sir? You are no longer the little slave boy in a Muslim Syrian home. You are among your Seventh-Day-Adventist Christian friends now. And as soon as your papers are processed, I will send you off on a big ship to America, where you will be adopted by an Armenian family as their son. I've already found homes for some of the orphans who have passed through here since Great War ended. I know you have, sir. Mr. Aram, but you know, us kids are kind of scared to leave here and go alone to someone we have never seen. We feel safe here. I just want to live here forever with you and Miss Diamandola as my papa and mama. Come here, Manuk, Aram said tenderly as he took Manuk's hand and pulled him down onto the bench beside him. Aram put his arm around the lad's shoulders and tried to snuggle him close, but the boy sat rigid. You aren't used to being hugged, are you, Manuk? No, sir. I used to see my Syrian master hugging his little boy, but no one ever hugged me. Not even when you were a little boy with your papa and mama? Yes, well, I think I can remember sitting on mama's lap and being hugged and kissed, but I was only 4 then. Mama died, and the next year the Turkish soldiers took Papa, Joseph, and me into exile. That was 1916. Papa and Joseph got sick and died along the way. Those mean soldiers just kicked their bodies off into the ditch. I screamed and cried because I didn't want to leave them. The soldiers made fun of me and beat me. After that, I never felt nothing. I was just sort of numb, and I wish I could die. But I didn't. Next, I remember being taken to an auction in the public square of a big town. Men, women, boys, and girls were led one at a time up on a platform and sold to Syrians. My master didn't know much Turkish, and I knew no Arabic, so I was beaten quite a bit that first year because I didn't understand him. Did he give you good food to eat? Aram asked solicitously. I ate what was left in the bottom of the kettles. It was enough. Where did you sleep, Manuk? Oh, he made a lean-to on the side of the house, and I rolled up in a blanket and slept there. That's where the Red Cross ladies found me. My master tried to hide me because he didn't want to give up his slave, but I slipped away from him, ran to the ladies, and asked them to save me. They took me and brought me here. Now I don't want to remember any more of those days. Manuk's face looked drawn and old for his 10 years. Clearly, he was trying to block from his memory his miserable past. I don't blame you, Aram sympathized. I spent 3 of those warriors down in Egypt as a prisoner of war, but the English treated us quite well. I was better off than the Armenians like your parents who remained in Turkey. But none of us had any choice. We were sent where the Turkish government wanted us. For the moment, we Christians have a respite here in Turkey, but I don't think it will last. That's why I have to get as many of you refugees as possible to America, where you will be safe. And don't worry, your new parents will love you. Since your family died, you have lost the feeling of love. You have been scared because you lacked love. I hope the feeling will come back to you. Then you will be able to enjoy that contented feeling of being special. Very special to someone. But I'm warning you, you'll have to let them hug and kiss you. That's what love is all about. Caring, feeling, hugging, kissing, and touching. "Would you hug and kiss Miss Diamandola?" Manuk asked, scandalized at the very thought. He leaned back and looked intently into Aram's face. "Now, look here, young man. Don't you ask such personal questions." It was Aram's turn for consternation. In 1920, men and women did not show affection in public, especially in the Middle East. No one told secrets of what went on in private either. The 10-year-old Manuk and 36-year-old Aram were at an impasse. Neither spoke for a time. Aram considered the boy's love-deprived background and thought he should talk like a papa to Manuk. "Yes, Manuk, I would love to hug and kiss Miss Diamandola, and I will if she will become my wife. The Bible says that husbands are to love their wives." "Oh my goodness! Oh no!" Manuk jumped to his feet and walked about clutching his stomach. "Oh, I never thought a man would kiss a woman." "Well, they do, mostly in private. And I hope the day will soon come when I can sneak Miss Diamandola away from the rest of this household and kiss her." Manuk was still repulsed by the thought of such intimacy. "Well, if that's what you want, you'd better ask Miss Diamandola to marry you soon." "That's exactly what I intend to do. I came out here into the garden this evening to plan my strategy." "But you have all kinds of chances to ask her. You ride the ferry and tram to and from work with her every day. You work all day at the office with her. You live right here at Rameli Hisar, the Mission Communal House, with her. What's the matter with you guys?" "Well, now it isn't as easy as you think." Aram found himself stammering for a logical explanation. "Women like to be, well, to feel courted." "Courted? What do you mean by that?" "Courting a lady means you take her places, do special things for her, buy her candy or other nice things." "Okay, so do it." "All the people here in the commune say you love Diamandola, and we don't want to be shipped out until we see you married." "Is that so? Well, I'll have to do something about that real—" "Aram? Where are you?" Diamandola called as she came through the kitchen door carrying 2 pails. "It's time for us to go get the milk." "I'm here, Miss Diamandola, and I'm ready," Aram called back with a lilt in his voice. He rose quickly from the bench, winked at Manuk, and joined Diamandola at the back gate of the garden. Going after milk from the neighbor had become an evening ritual for the two of them. It was the one time in the day when they could be away from the busy household in which they lived and the frustration of the office in which they worked. It was a time to relax together. "Good luck, Mr. Aram, sir," called a child's voice from the hollyhock patch. "Good luck, Mr. Aram, sir?" questioned Diamandola. "Whatever for?" "Oh, I wish you knew," Aram mumbled. You could be my good luck. In the meantime, I'll just try to open the gate for you." Diamandola was baffled by Aram's nervous behavior. It didn't improve on the way home either. Suddenly, Aram stopped, set down his pail of milk with a splash, and asked, "Miss Diamandola, when are we going to get married?" "Oh, I don't know," she answered casually, walking on with her pail of milk. "We'll have to think about it," she added without turning her head or slowing her pace. Pursing his lips, Aram drew a deep breath, exhaled explosively, snatched up his pail of milk, and hastened his steps to keep stride with her. In his rush, some of the milk sloshed over the bucket, spattering his polished black shoes. Had Aram been able to read her mind, he would have known that Diamandola's words and actions belied her inner feelings. Since he couldn't guess what she was thinking, he was baffled and wondered what to say next. He admitted to himself that he had not made the most romantic proposal, not even a diplomatic one, just a blurted-out one. But there was a glimmer of hope. She hadn't outright refused his proposal, just stalled for time. Watching her intently from the corner of his eye, he stumbled along beside her and tried again. When will you know, Diamandola? After we have prayed about it, she answered evenly, never even glancing his way. When they reached the back gate, Aram set down his pail with another splash. Blocking Diamandola's passage, he grasped her shoulders gently and turned her toward him. Look, little darling, everyone expects us to get married. We know each other well, and we are in love, aren't we? Why wait longer? As Aram started to pull Diamandola into his arms, she deliberately placed her pail of milk between them and looked him in the eye. Aram, she said, do you mind if we pray about it a little more? Aram's hands dropped back to his sides. He leaned over and picked up what was left of his pail of milk. As you say, Diamandola, he agreed reluctantly. He was disappointed to the point of depression. Things had not gone as he had hoped. In the morning, he would have to tell Manuk, no luck. Aram could not realize how much he had shaken Diamandola. Upstairs in her room alone that night, Diamandola paced the floor, prayed to God, and reasoned with herself. She began to question her position on marriage. She loved Aram. Would it be wrong for her to marry him and enjoy a little domestic security and bliss? Or did God want her to devote full time and effort to his work as she had done since the age of 13? She had been engaged to RS once, and that didn't seem wrong. When RS died 4 years ago, she had put marriage out of her mind and heart. Now Aram's proposal threatened that resolve. He was kind and thoughtful, courting her gently and lovingly. She could hardly help but like him. Yes, maybe she even loved him. Why should she not seek happiness with a devoted Christian worker such as he? He had been a tremendous blessing to the work ever since he had returned from Egypt. He had gradually taken over most of the actual publishing work for the Union. He also helped Diamandola with the accounts. Now, when Diamandola had only translation work to do, she could stay home and do it in her room. She could concentrate better there and work faster than in the office. Oh, what shall I do? She asked herself as she dropped onto her bed exhausted. As Diamandola tossed restlessly on her bed, she admitted that she had come to depend a great deal on Aram's help. She was drawn to him as a person, but she wanted a clear directive from God. What was his will for her? She finally drifted off to sleep, believing that as he had led her in the past, he would continue to guide her now. The next morning, she was too tired to rush off to the office with Aram. She stayed out of sight until he left. Then she dressed carefully for the day. As she combed her brown tresses up into a bun, she examined herself in the mirror. How can Aram love anyone as skinny as me? He says I'm beautiful. Man, that's what they all say. She turned to the paper she was translating from English into Turkish. Let me get back to the real world. Work. Early that afternoon, as Diamandola was working on the manuscripts, she had an overpowering urge to walk over to the window and look out. She repressed the impulse several times, but finally she yielded and walked over to the window. As she looked down the path, she saw Aram coming up from the boat landing. She smiled and waved to him, and Aram returned the greeting. Instinctively, Diamandola knew that what had just happened had special significance. Her heart was doing double time as Aram burst through the door. He rushed over to her and lifted her into his arms. Don't refuse any longer, my dearest, he said, kissing her cheeks and lips. I prayed about the matter, and my prayer was answered. You were standing at the window. I will marry you, Aram, Diamandola whispered in his ear as she hugged him tightly. It feels so good to love and be loved again. The next Sabbath, Aram and Diamandola invited everyone to attend their engagement party the following Sunday on the lawn of Rameli Hisar. Everyone from the church and the Rameli Hisar household were there to wish the two lovers God's blessing. But young Manuk was the most pleased of all. I told you to do it, and you finally done it, he said triumphantly. Now kiss her." "I already have," Aram confided quietly. "When? I missed it." "So did everyone else. But the day I marry her, I will kiss her in public, and you will see it. Look at my face. Do you see the happy glow that love for someone brings? This will happen to you too someday if you'll let it."